Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at Noon.
A scary start to the morning for one Winchester woman after she says she was almost hit by a car while just standing out on her front porch.
We're tracking the latest into the UK BB gun case.
Looks pretty good the next 48 hours. Unfortunately, once we hit Friday, a lot of green on that map. That means rain on Friday. And once we get toward the weekend, back behind this front, possibly the first fall frost for some of us for the weekend. I'll show you those numbers coming up. WKYT News at Noon starts right now.
Good afternoon from WKYT News. I'm Barbara Bailey. Bill has the day off. A woman got quite a scare this morning when a car plowed into her Central Kentucky home. It happened on East Hickman Drive in Winchester. Now, it's believed a medical emergency caused the crash. WKYT's Jordan Valines is in Clark County with reaction from the homeowner. It's our top story at noon. Jordan?
It was around 8:30 this morning when Liz Deaver was just standing out on her front porch when she saw a car down the street coming straight in her direction and going about 40 to 50 miles per hour. She ran inside her house and says that the car only missed her by about a few feet and ended up coming to a stop when it hit a concrete wall next to her neighbor's house. She says the man driving the car had suffered a seizure, causing him to lose control of the vehicle. Shortly after the car collided with the concrete wall, Liz says that the hood of the car caught on fire, and her fiance, along with a neighbor, had to work together to get the unconscious man out of the vehicle.
I was shook up then. I've calmed down. I'm just praying for the gentleman. I hope he's okay and comes out of it all right.
Right now, the name of the man who was driving and his condition have not yet been released, but neighbors say that he did live just a few blocks away. In Winchester, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
Now, the homeowner says the car knocked down 2 support beams on her front porch and took off some of the siding on her home. Security remains high at a Louisville high school at this noon hour, one day after a shooting involving 2 students. Police say a sophomore opened fire at Fern Creek High School in Louisville, sending a 15-year-old classmate to the hospital. WKYT's Whitney Wetzel is in the live desk now. New details on the case emerging. Whitney?
Today, Fern Creek High School officials say students are operating on a normal schedule, as normal as possible, that is, in light of yesterday's shooting. Counselors are at the school available to talk to students who need it, along with extra security. Police say a sophomore shot a 15-year-old student twice on the 2nd floor of the school yesterday around 1. The school was put on a level 5 lockdown and hundreds of students were forced to evacuate the building. Just before 4, police tracked down the suspect in a nearby apartment. This morning, the school is operating on a security level 3, which means parent access is restricted. Teachers' doors are locked and students need hall passes. The school's principal, Nate Meyer, says attendance is around 90%. Today, students had mixed emotions about returning to class. Also today, the school system is reviewing their procedures to make sure the administration did everything they were supposed to in the moments after yesterday's shooting. Meanwhile, police continue to investigate what led up to this incident. They say the victim in this case was targeted and this shooting was not random. At the live desk, Whitney Wetzel, back to you.
Whitney, thank you. At last check, the shooting victim is still recovering from his injuries at a Louisville hospital. Police have charged a juvenile with assault, wanton endangerment, tampering with physical evidence, and several gun possession charges. There's also new information today on a boy's body found in a Louisville park. Police now say the 12-year-old was murdered. Investigators have identified the boy but have not released his name yet. His body was found in a wooded area at Cherokee Park late yesterday afternoon. Police say his family members are not considered suspects and are cooperating with the investigation. The Fayette County Attorney says disorderly conduct charges will likely be filed for Sunday's gun scare on the UK campus. 4 UK football players, Dorian Baker, Drew Barker, Tamir DeBose, and Stanley Boom Williams, have been suspended from Saturday's game against South Carolina for their involvement in the incident. WKYT's Sean Moody joins us now with an update on the case. Sean?
Well, the day after the county attorney said he expects UK police to file disorderly conduct charges, we're still waiting to see exactly where the case stands. Yesterday, County Attorney Larry Roberts said UK police plan to file disorderly conduct charges, though it's not clear who would be charged. His secretary said today that if charges had been filed, they would not be public record until a judge signs off on them, they're served, and a court date is set. Now, this all stems from an incident Sunday night near the Kerwin Blanding dorm complex on UK's South Campus. Students reported hearing shots fired. Police said the apparent shots came from an airsoft gun. The next day, UK police released surveillance pictures of people they wanted to talk to, and a few hours later, Coach Mark Stoops announced 4 freshmen, Dorian Baker, Drew Barker, Tymir Dubose, and Stanley Williams, would be suspended for Saturday's game against South Carolina because of the incident. Stoops said the players are cooperating with authorities.
We had some good kids that used poor judgment, that made a mistake. They know they made a mistake, and they're being held accountable for it.
UK police said they recovered 3 BB guns connected to the incident. They say guns of any kind are not allowed on campus. In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
And UK athletics officials said the players will also face additional internal team discipline. A former Kentucky basketball star has entered a substance abuse treatment program. Rex Chapman was arrested last month for allegedly shoplifting and reselling $14,000 worth of items from an Arizona Apple store. The Herald Leader says Chapman is now at the Brooke Hospital in Louisville. Sources say he's trying to break his addiction to Suboxone, a drug which helps wean people off of opiates. A man who admitted to 3 murders in central Kentucky has learned his fate. Matthew Denholm was sentenced to life in prison as part of a plea deal less than an hour ago. He pleaded guilty to the 2010 murders of Sonsaray Warford and Charles Walker, and also the 2011 murder of Zachary Flower. We'll have much more from Madison County Courthouse coming up in a report on WKYT News at 12:30. Well, the case against a controversial cyclist has been continued. Cherokee Schill will be back in court in December. She was arrested last month in Jessamine County for riding her bike along US 27 and charged with wanton endangerment. Earlier this year, she lost a legal battle when a judge found her guilty of careless driving. Schill maintains she has a right to ride her bike on the busy road. It's the first day of October, but it feels more like August with sunny skies, temperatures near 80. Things will be changing quickly, though, as we head towards the weekend. WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is live in our First Alert Weather Center now with a look ahead. Micah.
Well, it's kind of interesting where you look. You still see some fog trying to lift on out of here. That's why we're in the 60s for several locations. We have the mid-70s down toward the southwest where we have seen plenty of sunshine. So once we get that sun cooking, that's where we'll start to see those temperatures really start to kick up. So we're looking at the mid to upper 70s as we go throughout the night and into tomorrow. Pretty much the same, except we're going to get even warmer for tomorrow as it warms very rapidly there in the 80s by the afternoon tomorrow. Here's today's talker, kind of what you would be talking about out at work once you head back. Blasting cold front, that's going to bring some issues there for Keeneland. And you can see that patchy frost, the possibility for the weekend. Yeah, go ahead and get ready for that. We'll talk more on this, give you the details off into your weekend coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Micah, thank you. The Ebola outbreak that's claimed thousands of lives in West Africa is hitting home, with the first case of the virus diagnosed now in the U.S. Omar Villafranca is at Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital in Dallas, where the unidentified man is in critical condition.
CDC staff have arrived in Dallas to help local health officials contain the Ebola virus now that the first U.S. patient has been diagnosed. They're working to track down anyone who had contact with the male patient when he had symptoms.
And we'll go through every minute of each day with his family to understand who might have been exposed and every healthcare interaction he had.
Ebola spreads through direct contact with bodily fluids from an infected person showing signs of the virus. The patient didn't have symptoms of Ebola when flying from Liberia to the U.S. on September 19th.
This man was not infectious when he got on the plane. We've checked 100% of the people leaving Liberia for fever. He didn't have fever. Anyone with fever is not allowed to board the plane.
Officials here at Texas Health say there is a plan in place to handle Ebola cases, and there is no risk to other patients coming here for treatment. Still, people in the community are worried.
I would just want to make sure that if we've got our kids going to doctors and going there, that it's a safe place to go.
Crew members who transported the patient to the hospital on Sunday are not showing symptoms of Ebola, but will be quarantined at home. The ambulance they carried the patient in was in use afterwards, but is now out of service for extensive decontamination. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Dallas.
Now, the patient actually came to Texas Health late last week, but was sent home with non-specific symptoms. Texas Governor Rick Perry will be in Dallas today to hold a news conference on the Ebola case. Soldiers from Fort Campbell are deploying to Liberia to support the response to the Ebola virus outbreak there. The 101st Airborne Division says the 101st headquarters will support the U.S. Agency for International Development as it helps the government of Liberia contain the virus. The troops deploying to West Africa will receive specific medical training and use specialized personal protection equipment to ensure that they are shielded from exposure. Right now, the length of the deployment is undetermined.